Everyone, thanks for joining me in part 2 of the reading of my novel, Work in Progress, called The Feral, The Hour of the Wolf. And it's actually a really great day to be doing this because outside it's raining, not too hard, not too soft, and it's coming down and just kind of tinkling on the water of the bayou that runs in front of my place. The sky is gray. It's not cold. It's warm and a little bit muggy outside, so it's kind of perfect for this genre of reading. But the last we were here, I had introduced to you Maggie, who is going to be the main character in my book. At least the storyline surrounds her and the chaos that kind of comes with her. Despite her rather promiscuous acting behavior, I hinted to somebody in her life that makes her heart go pitter-patter. So let's go ahead and meet him, shall we? He had appeared 8 months before Halloween, on March 20th to be exact. Maggie remembered the precise date because it was the first day of Ostara, the spring equinox. An ancient pagan holiday celebrated by the Celts. It was a romantic one that brought the gods and goddesses together, which for some ended up in the woods in a salacious lovemaking session. Although Maggie did not follow these beliefs and traditions, she remembered hearing her mother speak of the folklore behind the stories. And on this night, her first time seeing him, it felt like the appropriate time for believing, if only for her own personal gain. That evening was unexpectedly stormy, making it symbolically appropriate as he entered Magud. The door to the club had swung open, and at that abrupt moment, an explosive clap of thunder erupted outside, followed by an electric surge of lightning. The entire foyer lit up, creating a silhouette of this never-before-seen stature of a man. The ominous scene was so cinematic that it caused those sitting at the bar to jump out of their seats. Maggie gasped out loud and dropped an ice-cold Guinness on the floor. Between the crash of thunder and the shattering of the thick brown glass beer bottle, it took everyone a second to regain their composure. And between the unsettling laughter and a couple of spilled drinks, the stormy figure made his way through the crowd and up to the bar. Normally confident at her place of work, and dubbed by some the bitch of Belfast, Maggie now felt herself slipping into a place of euphoric submission. She let out a slight whimper as this new arm candy came straight for her. With a bar towel still in hand and thirsty patrons yelling out their drink orders, Maggie could only focus on who stood before her, whoever he was. With rainwater dripping down his face like a Giorgio Cologne commercial, tall, dark, and delicious, pulled a rubber band from his ponytail, and his surprisingly long black hair tumbled down his back. He shook his head like a wet dog after a bath, and in what felt like slow motion, sprinkles of water sprayed from his luscious ruff and shimmered as they caught the pulsating lights from the dance floor behind him. But he was no matted-up dog-pound mutt. This one was Westminster Kennel Club material, like a Tibetan mastiff with a glorious mane. If this one was a stray off the streets, Maggie was ready to take him home and make him her new pet. Maggie held her breath. She had never seen anyone like him in Belfast. And as he flipped his head back, his raven-colored hair unexplainably fell around his shoulders in the most perfect romance book cover kind of way. Realizing how lightheaded she was becoming, Maggie then remembered to breathe and exhaled slowly, her breath shaking in anticipation of the new potential suitor now standing before her. Beer? His voice was savory and breathy, yet Maggie somehow still heard it over Michael Jackson's Beat It. And despite the crowd erupting into a roar of cheers and pushing their way onto the dance floor, his gaze never broke from hers. Maggie's head was still spinning. He spoke up again. How about one of Ireland's finest? She gave a robotic-like nod and realized that she was probably making a fool of herself. Snap out of it, lass. You normally have these men lapping at your boots. But there was just something about him that took control of Maggie in body, mind, and soul. She leaned into the beer cooler and took a deep breath. Maggie inhaled the frosty blast from the icebox and was jolted back into reality. When she came up from air, bottle in hand, her now favorite Guinness customer was transfixed on her every move. They both smiled at the same time, causing Maggie to nervously giggle. She had to play it cool and compose herself, or at least try to put up a facade. How in the hell was this guy making her so nervous? She had a reputation to uphold. And with that, Maggie let out an uneasy sigh and looked at him square in that bronzed, chiseled face of his. This guy was not a typical customer. Maggie's bartender's sixth sense could feel it. As he went to place money on the bar, instinctively, she too reached for it, and their hands touched. It startled her, but in a good way. Maggie went to pull back, but he gently, yet firmly, wrapped his surprisingly soft palm around her fingers and leaned in. This was it. He was going to say something suave or use some sort of cliche of a pickup line on her. And truth be told, she would have not minded it. Not from this guy. He put his lips to her ear, just close enough for Maggie to feel his breath on her neck, and then he simply said, "Thank you. Keep the change." That was it. Not another word. He took a swig of his beer, never taking his eyes off of her. His accent said he was not Irish. Maggie guessed American. And despite the anticlimactic moment, this could still get exciting. She had never met someone from the United States before. And as quickly as he blew in the front door, he turned and disappeared into the chaos of the club. Maggie quickly scanned the horizon of patrons across the club. He was nowhere that she could see, and now thinking about it, was he sending her mixed signals? Or maybe she was the one who thought too much of herself, and he wasn't interested in her at all. Wow, that's it? Buzzkill. She was bummed. Her good guy meter was off tilt. Maybe wet dog guy wasn't as charming as she had hoped for. Despite her reputation, Maggie was secretly a hopeless romantic. Oh, sure, while at work, shielded by the enormous oak bar she scurried behind, her words and behavior were brazened. It was all a front that she put up to trick the customers into thinking she was someone and something she was not. But truth be told, Maggie wanted to find stereotypical fairy tale love. Even as a little girl, it was something she dreamed about. But tonight, by all appearances, nothing of the sort would happen. So as you can see, Maggie appears to have possibly met her match. You know, she puts on this whole bad girl image, and you'll learn later on that don't believe everything you see, because sometimes things are not what they appear to be. But she seems to have definitely got a little bit of a thing for this guy she just met. Now, is he playing hard to get? I don't know. Is he just shy? I don't know. We're going to know, but I'm not going to tell you right now. So, now starts this cat and mouse kind of game. And we'll see if they meet up and she gets the guy. Until then, thanks for listening. And, I'm going to be stumbling through this because, like I said, it's still work in progress. I'm catching my mistakes as I go along, but we got a lot to catch up on. So stay tuned for the next part. And I hope you like it and let me know what you think in the comments.